As the NBA trade deadline is a little bit over a month away, I think it's a good time to start talking about the teams and the players that could be in the market. So, before we start today's video, I want to hear down below, who do you think is going to get traded and which teams do you think are going to be in the market? And we'll be talking today about players from the Sacramento Kings, Atlanta Hawks, the Denver Nuggets, OKC Thunder, Chicago Bulls, etc. Bunch of people in this video. So let's get into today's topic and let's talk about the NBA trade rumors. Let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. A few weeks ago, they were a team that was looking like they were going to be in the bottom of the Western Conference. Now they're looking like they could make a run for the 8th seed with De'Aaron Fox playing on an all-star level basketball, potentially being a third-team NBA player, and Tyrese Haliburton going neck for neck with LaMelo Ball for the Rookie of the Year. With that being said, Buddy Hield has had a roller coaster year. He's been a pretty much 40% three-point shooter for his career. He's a guy that we probably will see on the move just because he's older. He's closer to 30 than he is closer to 22, and he's a guy that they could get some value out of him, especially that he's still on a contract for a decent amount of time. Another guy that we could see being moved is Harrison Barnes, such as the Boston Celtics are interested in him because they're trying to use that Gordon Hayward exception on somebody valuable, and he's a guy that they like very much. And again, he's playing a career basketball and he's older, and they're trying to go younger, the Kings, so you could see him move. John Collins is a guy who could be moved, and I would like to see the Kings move for him, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But let's go hop in and talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks sources say the Atlanta Hawks have shown a willingness to listen to offers for John Collins, and he was a guy who turned down a $90 million extension before the year because he believed he could get a bigger payday in free agency. And entering Friday's game against San Antonio Spurs, Collins is second on the team behind Trae Young in scoring with 18.5 points per game, second behind Clint Capela in rebounding with 7.8 per game, second behind Capela in blocks with 1 per game, and 30 minutes behind Young and DeAndre Hunter with 31.9. So I was saying earlier, they should trade him to Sacramento for Nemanja Bjelica, who's a 39% career three-point shooter over 6 seasons, and they could get a first-round pick for Collins. He's just going to leave in free agency. Just get what you can. Lonzo Ball and JJ Reddick could be on the move. And it's not that Lonzo Ball is playing terrible. He's actually shooting 37% from 3, grabbing 5 rebounds, dishing out 5 assists, getting about a steal and a half a game, and scoring about 14 points a game. But he is just taking up minutes for Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Kira Lewis Jr., so they probably want to get rid of him so they can play their younger guys. And we could see him going to a team like, obviously the Chicago Bulls are a rumored one that they'll probably send over one of the young guys. We don't know if it would be Kobe White, Zach LaVine, depending on how much they're trying to give out, because they shouldn't just give out Lonzo for bench players, role players. They should get some good guys. But we could say maybe Devontae Graham, if they send it to the Hornets, maybe pair him up with his brother. Or we see the Golden State Warriors maybe send over Kelly Oubre, move Steph Curry to the shooting guard position. Be interesting. JJ Reddick probably go to a contending team. I don't think the Boston Celtics, but you know, a team that really would love his shooting. And obviously, off the top of my head, I can't think of any great places for JJ Reddick, but you know, Philadelphia would be great. They would love his shooting. The Mavs would love his shooting. There's just a bunch of guys. So I would love to hear your opinions down below on where you think Lonzo and JJ are going to go. This could be a hot take, but the Denver Nuggets need a guy outside of Nikola Jokic who can actually provide a offensive and defensive consistency on a nightly basis, because Jamal Murray since the bubble has been hot and near cold, and so has Michael Porter Jr. Because some nights we see Porter Jr. looking like the superstar he's supposed to be, and other nights we're just like, all right, that's why you haven't been playing that much. And on this team, Jokic is playing at another level from another planet, and then it just kind of drops off with Jamal Murray at 18 points. Jamal Murray's great if he's your third guy. You really need a second guy. So I really believe they should go full force for Bradley Beal if possible. I know that could be hard. Or try to get guys like Thaddeus Young or Zach LaVine or Garrett Temple, or all 3 of them, and send over Gary Harris, Will Barton, maybe Michael Porter Jr., and some picks. I think that could be a team that could maybe even make the playoffs. I mean, not the playoffs, the finals, and definitely make a deep run to the Western Conference Finals. These are just the miscellaneous, you could say, honorable mentions. Al Horford, who's been playing reasonable. I know his contract's a little bit hard to move, but he could be a guy that they could move. I don't see that one being possible. The more likely one is George Hill, who could go to a contending team or a team that loses a point guard. Because injuries are still going to happen. People need to remember that when we're talking about this, an injury could happen and they need somebody so they can keep their push, because a team feels like they can make a deep run, but they lose a player that they need. George Hill can be that point guard who can go in. If Kemba can't keep going, George Hill could be a guy that the Boston Celtics trade for. Another guy, Evan Fournier. He's been kind of streaky this year, and I like Fournier. He's a good 4th or 5th guy for a contending team. I could see him going to a team like the Bucks. The Bucks would really enjoy having him because they lost out on Bogdanovich, and he could maybe be a guy they get right there. They might have to move Brook Lopez or somebody to get that deal done, but that is a very possible deal. I don't think Nikola Vucevic is going to be traded yet. I know there is rumblings about like him possibly being traded, but for me, I just don't see that happening. It's just, he's a really good player, and there's nothing, I'm not putting anything against anybody not wanting to trade for it. It's just the Magic won't trade him. I think instead of going full force on this rebuild and trying to rebuild around Markelle when he comes back from injury and Jonathan Isaac, I think they're just trying to keep the same team going, which like I guess is a good idea, but I don't really like it because I rather, let's just start over. Let's start new. You know, let's start with a new canvas, a new painting. But that's just my take on it. Then the next one we can talk about is Kyle Lowry. I know there's going to be a bunch of Raptors fans who will go, no, they shouldn't trade Kyle Lowry. That's not going to happen. I'm not seeing that happen. Won't happen. And honestly, at this point, this team isn't the same. It's like part of the team is a majority of it from the 2019 Raptors championship run, and it's not working. And he's due a lot of money. Maybe it's time to tell your franchise cornerstone for almost the past decade, if you don't count DeMar DeRozan, obviously, to go away. Because, you know, obviously that's going to be sad, but that's just something that could happen. And, you know, I don't think there's going to be any major trades unless there's a Bradley Beal or some sort of trade like that. Besides that, I really see this year painting out to be sort of, I guess, more, you could say, monotone. It's not things going to be really interesting. Besides maybe some bad teams trading bad players or some role guys. Maybe not many superstars until the year's over, just because of all the protocol and all that. But besides that, guys, I really do hope you guys did enjoy this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Until next, guys, peace out.